Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year to everyone, and thank you very much for coming on with us. A special time is 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. But I went outside this morning and it is very nice and warm out there. I'm a summer person. I can't do this winter stuff at all. I'm actually allergic to winter. So I don't know who out there listening is allergic to, but I'm over it already. But welcome back. Welcome back. We are coming back with some awesome topics. And, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co host. Of course, I'm Dr. Diamond, so you all know who I am. And I'm going to bring on Miss Rajanta and Miss Michelle, my co hosts. They are fabulous. Black women that are doing some extraordinary things out here. So, good morning, ladies, and Happy New Year to you both. Welcome to
Good morning.
Morning.
2024.
Happy
Good morning.
2024.
So
Happy.
how's it going? How's everything with you all? Anything new going on?
I'm just continuously trying to push forward, even though sometimes we get kind of unfocused and caught off guard with different events that go on in our life. I'm just trying to push forward, use my coping skills, and just trying to be my best self.
Look at that. You using your tools, coping skills. You hear that, everyone? She said, I'm using my coping skills.
Yes.
That's right. That lets you know that although we're professionals, we use the same tools that we give you
Yes.
all too.
Yes.
Right? So, Shell, what's new with you, my dear? And welcome back because,
I know.
our listeners missed you too. It's been a little bit. So, what's up?
Well, I have a new grandbaby. We have a new addition to the family, so that comes with play.
Yay.
Um, and I think I'm starting. Not that I think. I know I'm starting this year off on a positive note. Starting with the organization, and promoting self-care. Just taking care of yourself before you take care of everybody else. Because
Mm-hmm.
not just we're women, we're mothers, we're significant others, wives, um, and caregivers to
Mm-hmm.
other people. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we tend to forget about ourselves. So I'm going to put myself first this year.
Oh, good. That is a great resolution because what are most people's resolution? Oh, I'm going to lose weight. No, I think self-care is number one. I agree with you.
Absolutely.
That trajectory is, something that I'm on also as well. That self-care is important and just promoting it,
Yes.
self-care. Next week I am going to be, facilitating a workshop. And Shell, you're a part of that workshop. And this workshop is going to be again, educating our community. So it is about human trafficking and domestic violence. And I know that you all three of us, all four of us have had conversations about domestic violence, what that is. And, we we have to continue to talk about these things, human trafficking and the domestic violence. So I'm hoping that you all can come out. Is at the Woodland Lodge, number 30, and that is up in Bordentown, 19 Park Street. And it will be next Saturday, starting at 2 o'clock. So it's from 2 to 5, and then we're going to have a silent auction after that from 5 to 6. But I hope to see, our listeners out there, or pass the word around. If you can't make it, at least pass the word around. But Shell, I want you to touch on, again, your organization. And I want you to talk about that briefly so everybody can hear what you are doing and up and coming, if you have anything up and coming, or just remind us of your agency.
So I guess the importance of my agency that I would like to focus on more is education, to educate everybody on domestic violence, because so many times victims are silent, and we
Yes.
shouldn't be. So just to promote, part of self-care is being caring for others, and listening, helping other
Mhm.
people. It's all for me. It's I don't know how to explain it, but it's important that we're kind to each other, because you don't know what people are going through. And sometimes, people, us, as I'm going to say us as women, because I'm a woman, we
Mm-hmm.
wear a smile on our face when our hearts are broken, when we're
Mm-hmm.
going through things. And I've I've gotten used to, in 2023, saying, when I'm not okay, I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And that's important. And I think as an educator, we have to be the ones to say, I'm not okay. and it's okay not to be okay. So I want to promote more on TV. I want to be out more. I'm not a social butterfly anymore since COVID, because it's just I like to be secluded a little bit. I like to be at home doing my own thing. So I'm gonna push myself this year to step out of that box and do more things for the organization, because I do want people to survive.
Wonderful. I love that. I love that.
That is so great to hear, you know. So we have our roundtable talk this morning. So we're going to hit various topics. So I know that we were about to hit a topic before coming on. And this is a topic about the, was this a president of, was it Lincoln University you two were discussing?
Yes.
Okay. Fill us in, because I didn't hear a whole lot about this, but I would love to hear about this topic and for us to talk about this.
Yeah, we were actually talking about workplace bullying. I know the vice president of Lincoln University in Missouri, she actually committed suicide. And I guess what's coming out is that she was being bullied by the president. This was a HBCU in Missouri. She was being bullied. And I guess now emails are surfacing that kind of really talks about what happened leading up to that. So now the students are rallying around her cause. She said she was a beautiful person, a great person there, a helper, you know. So now they're trying to rally around to see what's going on and rally on around getting actually the president fired, who happens to be I guess the president was a woman of color, the vice president. So, you know, they're rallying around her just to try to talk about this and make this event something that is just not going to fall by the wayside. So they're just really trying to bring awareness to workplace bullying and how it could affect us and how it affects our mental wellness to the point of suicide.
Yeah, that's dangerous. You know, how much can you take as a human being? You know, what happens in the workplace when people are promoted to these different hierarchies in the agencies and they become these monsters? And I'm going to be honest here, a monster, because no one wants to work under someone that is constantly bullying them, berating them, humiliating them in front of other people. But as a human being, if you are not a person that fight back, and I mean in your words, you will be that person that slowly breaks down and feel like I'm worthless, because that's how I'm being treated. So your next level of recourse is I'm going to remove myself from everything and everybody because I'm worthless anyway, because look at how this person treat me. This is a terrible thing. And this is a woman bullying another woman.
It was actually a male, a man.
A male, okay.
A woman, you know. And I just think about even sometimes when we do try to fight back, there's some recourse to it. So, you know, we go to work to, you know, feed our family, to kind of have a way of life, maintain that way of life. So when we think that is, you know, something that can be I guess taken away from, we kind of push back when we get that recourse. We push back. We don't want to make waves because, you know, we need to pay our bills, you know. So that's maybe a reason some people don't always kind of, you know, is not as vocal as they should be because of the recourse associated with it.
So is it one of those things that, because we hear about this case, and then it's like you say people are rallying around her and the cause, and how come the cause can't be just us regular people? Why does it always have to be somebody on TV for people to start rallying around and say, oh, we're going to put a stop to this, or just to make it known for people to hear you? Because you can talk about it. We talk about it a lot and nobody listens. It goes to deaf ears until you hear somebody famous or it hits the news, and it's like, oh, then it's like almost like a light goes off.
Absolutely.
But even in her case, what could people have done differently to help her? Or did she reach out for help? If she did, who did she reach out to? Because, you know, even in the workplace, there's a protocol and there's a chain of command. So what happens when you hit those chains of command that it goes to deaf ears? Because she could have went to her chain of command to put a stop to it.
Yeah.
But what happens to us normal people in
Yeah.
a normal work day when you're being bullied by your manager? And it doesn't even have to be verbally. It could be hindering you from getting another promotion, going to another department. It could be any. So all that to be said, that's those moments where us as Black women, us as individuals, male, women, we have to rally around one another to help each other. And if we stay silent, again, that word silent, we can't, nobody can help us if we're silent, because you go home and you're like, I'm done with it. That I'll deal with it tomorrow. And you don't tell anybody, but that somebody can help, may be able to help you to rectify the situation.
Yeah. I want to say, as a former elected official in the union, so I, came across various incidences like this. There is a chain of command. I guess the thing that I always came up against is like people not want to push the envelope, people not want to make waves, people not wanting to put things on paper because of fear of the recourse, or they're kind of looking at somebody else's situation. Okay, this person did it, nothing happened, now they're blackballed. So there's a lot of politics involved in it as well that I've seen, which is a reason that people kind of really try to, stay quiet.
That's true.
And suffer. Even coming to work, just heavily medicated just to get through the day. That's something that's quite common, especially when you're working with a supervisor who is, in fact, a bully.
Right.
Again, power. The power and sitting in power, and know you can take this power and do this to people. So the question will go back to hurt people. Did I have a boss like that and I admire the way that boss was doing or operating, and not realizing that is not even a professional way to handle your team, your staff, or anything? But you look at that as, hey, this is how I'm going to treat this person. Now, again, I just want to ask this question for clarity. The president was a male, Black male or white male?
White male.
White male. The woman was a Black woman,
the vice president, Black woman.
Black woman.
Black woman.
Okay.
I'm thinking that was a command.
Right. And you know what? I hate to always bring race into the factor, but that is also what we have to face realities and talk about that. When you look at a lot of things that are going on in society, it is really a replication of everything that each generation continues to go through. But I think what we're going through now is just as bad as each generation here. But when you're causing people to harm themselves because you have personal biases, because as human beings, we have biases, but there is a level of how far you go with your bias, where being prejudiced is first. And you feel it, and you walk in a room and you get the tension and you get all of these things, or your question about your intelligence and things like that. I think it is just not appropriate for people to keep judging Black people or mistreating us like we are no one with feelings. So I just think, I don't know. And I go back to shame on you, America, because you say that it's no racism here, but that's a big lie for us that are walking around in brown and black skin. We don't feel that. We don't know what you guys are talking about.
But I think they know what we're talking about. They just don't want to acknowledge what we're talking about. They know it. They know
That's a good point. They do know it. They do. And it's awful because, again, it's repeated behavior. And then now that we're talking about women, I'm going to ask this question of you two, and this is related to pretty much what we're talking about in women in society in general. So this is our first roundtable discussion, even though that was a part of it. So here's our question. What changes would you like to see in this country as it pertains to how women are regarded?
I don't think we get credit for how strong that we actually are. It's Mother Earth. We are a child of birth, so we kind of bring life into the world, and we also breathe life into other people. So I think just the acknowledgement and the appreciation, maybe just taking away those gender roles, of, you know, a man supposed to do this versus a woman supposed to do this, because we're breaking all barriers and we are actually showing that both men and women can do this and do it well. So I think just the stereotypical mindset that people have as it relates to women, I think that can really be taken away at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I
Agree. Yes, I do agree with that. Women.
But why do we always have to be strong?
Right. I don't like it. I'm tired now. I'm exhausted.
Why?
Okay?
Why? Who said that we were supposed to be? But let's really break it down to how we were seen in general, Black women in general, once we were brought over here. We weren't even supposed to be experience pain, right? So that puts us in the category of they're strong. We're not supposed to experience emotion. That puts us in the category of strong, right? Because they're strong as an ox. They're like animals. So they don't have these things. There's no spirit in these people. So therefore, they're strong enough to take pain. They're strong enough to be humiliated. They're strong enough to be assaulted. They're strong enough to be treated just less than nothing. But we come back fighting and using the same strength that you're saying in a negative connotation, because that's the way it comes across to me. That's more negative. Mine is the way we look at it is positive. However, I agree with Shell. Why do we have to be the ones that have to be strong all the time? We can't break, we can't cry, we can't show any type of emotion. Because when we do, what happens, girls? If
angry Black woman.
Okay.
Or you got an attitude. Or you got an attitude.
And now I got an attitude because you told me I have an attitude. So yeah, now I do got an attitude.
I cannot be upset. Like, I'm not allowed to be angry. I gotta kind of be happy, keep my happy face, because you know the happy face is less intimidating. So you know you gotta smile.
Right.
Yeah, because when you don't smile, you have an attitude, or
you have an attitude,
or something's wrong.
Yes.
And God forbid you have something on your mind. You're not allowed to even be you're not allowed to be thinking something that has absolutely nothing to do with the people that's surrounded by you.
Absolutely, because I'm always in thought. I'm always in deep thought. Even when I'm walking, I'm always kind of thinking about the next plan. So sometimes my face kind of reflects that, okay, she's focused, but it may come across, okay, something wrong.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the things that, and this is a little off topic, but one of the things that I did in 23 was I would call my boss and be like, I'm taking a mental health day. I won't be in today. I'm not sick. I just wanted to take care of me today. And she was like, I could respect that. Have a good day. You too. Because we don't do that enough to say, I'm taking a mental health day. I'm taking a day for myself. I don't have no doctor's appointments. I don't feel ill, but it's just, I ran into somebody yesterday and she gave me some history about her background. And when she walked in the room, she was a beautiful Black woman. And then you look like she got it going on, right? Until you hear her tell her story that she can't get a real job because she has criminal history. And she has children, two children that are in abusive relationships. One she's going to court for. He's younger. But we don't wear what we go through.
Yes.
At all. We don't. We don't wear what we go through.
I think we're taught that, you know, how we're taught you got to always go outside dressed to the nines. You always got to go outside looking good. I don't know what this is. If you look good, you feel good, or you can't like let people know what you're going through. So you kind of go out looking good. Okay. You can have roaches all on the counter, all through the refrigerator. But as long as you go out and you looking good, you're good. You are winning. You are winning.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to some degree, that does work. When you look good, you feel good.
It's not going to stop those roaches from taking your food out the refrigerator. Okay. So gotta tackle all that.
You might look good and feel good when you walk out the door, but you're like, oh, I gotta come back home to them roaches. But I'm just saying, that's the mindset that we sometimes have.
Yes, but why is that? Because my mom is heavy on that's heavy, and I'm like, still to this day, and I'm like, how the heck? It just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. And I say this because I know when I was in my abusive relationship and I felt like I looked good when I left the home, but then I could feel myself at the end where it was just like sweatpants and a t-shirt. And it was just like, I'm just here. I'm just here. Until I started going to counseling, and it was like, you got to fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got to wake up and get dressed, and you feel good when you get dressed and you look good. So it's kind of like, is it true? Because I did feel good. Once I started changing, like, okay, I'm not wearing no more sweatpants. I'm not doing it. So now to me, it's hard for me to put on a pair of sweatpants. Maybe around the house, I own one pair of sweatpants. I don't have any sweatpants.
I got some on now.
Do you? And they're probably so comfy. They're probably so comfy. But I just can't, for my own psyche, I just can't do it. But is it true that when you look good, you do feel good?
I would say most of the time, but then it's like, what are we masking?
Right.
Like what's behind that, like looking good?
Yes.
Like tears. Just like you said, the woman that came in the office, right? And my sweatpants are, for me, a significant of me. It just symbolizes me kind of being able to be comfortable and being able to feel not so strong, you know, and they make me happy.
Yeah.
Because I always got to dress up and always got to show up, you know? Yeah. It was like these sweatpants was like, okay, you don't have to show up for nobody. You can kind of show up for yourself. You can be there for yourself and you're fine.
Yes. Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna go buy me some sweatpants today.
They make me happy.
See? Now look at that. You see how that just happened?
Look how I feel. Because the ones I got is a little bit tight. So when you put them on, you like, oh God, he's saying right.
Oh my gosh. That is funny. Yes, hey, you know what? But I'm glad. Look how influential that was, just to talk about how that feels. Right. But I also think, you know, to both of your points, we're always in survival mode too.
Yes.
So being in survival mode, it comes with, you know, what you all are saying, like I can present some certain way, or because I've got on have some nice clothes on, I look good, so I feel good. But we're in survival mode all the time.
Yes.
Although we're looking good, we're still in survival mode. So it's, you know, when we walk out our doors, we are in that mode. We don't know who's going to walk up to us, why they're going to say what they're saying. Am I going to be on the defense this morning? Lord, I'm going to pray in my car on the way to work that I'm going to have a good day. But someone comes and ruin your day by the way they approach us. And then we have to talk ourselves down. And this is where I'm talking about how we kick it to survival mode, because we have to talk ourselves off of the ledge, or we're going to say it, and then it's going to be a bigger problem. So it's just so much that women and Black women in general have to do to survive every day.
Dr. Diamond, how do you talk about survival mode and just us kind of having that one thing that kind of messes up our whole day? How do you tend to get through that when you kind of have a good day and then you have this thing that's kind of bringing you down? You know, and when we're down, it shows in our productivity. Then it shows in our attitude, right? Because now we got attitude, right? Now we're not going to be so nice. So how do you kind of tend to kind of get through that and bring yourself back up to that place of balance?
That's a good question. So I had, and I'm going to use this as an example, I had a subordinate that would curse me out almost every day. Like she was out of control. Lord. Like, you after me, blah, 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 blah. And this was an everyday thing. So I was like, you know what?
True story? Is this true story?
No, this is a true story. Yeah, this is a true story. She just didn't like the fact that I held her accountable. And that's the bottom line here. So this is the foundation of why she was the way she was. And it was always, I was attacking her. I'm watching her. I'm doing this, that, and the other. I don't like you. Da, da, da. Okay, no problem. So as a human being, I'm going to feel it. But I didn't walk around that way, because you know what I ended up saying to myself behind that door? I could be upset for the moment behind the door, but before I walked out that door, I said, it's her problem and it's not mine. I'm only holding her accountable for what she is not doing. This is not a personal attack from one Black woman to the next. What I want you to do is be better than yourself. And that's what I had to say, that I remember saying to her when she first came on board. I said, I am a teacher. I'm one of those people that want you to go up higher, even if you surpass me, because I know you're doing something well for yourself. But when people act like that, what I will tell everybody is this: connect with that emotion. Don't ignore it, because when you ignore it, you're only suppressing it, and it's going to come back out in a different way. And it may be one of those that you redirect to the next person that might say something to you. So what you say to yourself, you can go sit at your desk, go behind the door, go to the bathroom, go on a walk, and say, you know what? This is not personal, but I'm feeling some type of way because the way this person came at me. Face those feelings, you guys. Like, really connect with those feelings. Check in with your body. Then tell your body, calm down. You didn't start it. You didn't cause the incident to happen. Whatever that person is going through, it ain't personal. And I'm going to say it like that. It ain't, in versus saying not. So it ain't personal.
That's right.
But one thing I can tell you from a person that was observing me with the interaction with this person, she would come to my office and say, you walk around so professional, like something that this just didn't even happen to you. And I said to her, because the issue that's going on is bigger than me. So I can't sit here and take this personal, but I never said to her, you know what? I had to go in there and connect with this emotion that I'm angry, I'm upset, and all of this other things, because we're human. So I have to do that. So I would recommend that to anyone. Tap into that emotion, but you don't have to do it in front of everybody. Connect with it. Understand why you got there, and then understand why calming down is important, especially if you're in a place of leadership. Okay. You know, people are going to watch you. And guess what? They're going to scrutinize everything you're doing. Scrutinize it. Throw it up, throw it down, left, right, whatever. You can't say the wrong thing. But in the end, you're human.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, that's what I would recommend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So survival mode is what came to my mind. But the next question that I have, that I jumped out at me, and I was just curious about what the two of you would think. This is under the topic thought-provoking. This one says, to what extent have recent events impacted your life, your everyday life and movement in the world? Part 2 of this question is, how has home life and work shifted? So think about some of the things that have impacted us in this world. There are several things. You can go from the insurrection to what happened to Jonathan Majors. I mean, you can really look at all of that. Okay. There's a lot of things that happened. We had a lot of young people or people brutally attacked by the officers and lost their lives. So think about something that has truly impacted you, even if it's recent or the past. And how would you answer this question? So I'm going to read it one more time. To what extent have recent events impacted your everyday life and movement in the world? And how has home life and work shifted?
So I will say the one thing that has, I think the world has changed. And as a woman, and not just a Black woman, now we're taught that you have to pay attention to your surroundings more now than you ever have. And that goes for something as simple as, so I have to run an errand today and I have to go to a particular place. And my first thought is, oh, I'm going by myself. It's a big place. What if somebody kidnaps me? Because there is human trafficking. So you do know you have to pay attention to your surroundings. You're going to an area that's not your familiar area. Yeah. Do you not go out of fear? Do you call somebody to go with you so that you know that you're safe? Because you should move with a buddy. But we should not live in a sense of fear that we can't go anywhere because other people have issues. So I think hearing about the things that happen in the world for me makes you more cautious about going places in the dark. So I'm not going in the dark, obviously. So I will make a point to go where I need to go early so that I can leave there early. Thank God I have a handicap sticker so I can park at the front door. Because sometimes you like to roll by yourself. You don't need somebody to go with you. Like I want to go to the store by myself. So I think that has shifted. I think COVID, as I mentioned earlier, has shifted your home life, work life. Things are different. I work from home 90% of the time. So when it's time for me to go out, I've gotten used to online shopping. I don't let people pick out my meats. So, some stuff is like a curbside. 7 o'clock in the morning before work, you be like, I'll be there to pick up my curbside stuff. I don't want to go in stores. I don't want to be around people. You look at people and you're like, why did you come out looking like that? Or just the hustle and bustle of just needing to be protected at all times because COVID is real.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I think society, a lot of things in the world have changed the way that I do.
Yes, I agree with that. You know what? I will say with the whole COVID, I do order my groceries as well. But I do let them pick out my meats.
I do
because I'm tired and I'm trying to maximize my time in my day. So I order my groceries, it's a mess. My mom would kill me if she knew I was doing all this. So I order my groceries, I order my food. I hate going to the store. I order outfit. I hate going to the store. So I will say that because it's like now I can kind of use that time to spend more time with my family in the house and just do things that I really want to do that are enjoyable for me, part of my self-care. But I will say something that's really kind of changed the way I look at things would be like the whole Me Too movement. So it's really changed the way I look at men and women. It really, we kind of taught to kind of put these men on a pedestal, this and that. So it really kind of changed the trajectory of the way I see men. Because, we say, okay, they're just being a man. So, and I guess the extent of it, of just everything that kind of came up out of it, even the whole new Epstein, the list that came out. So I'm just like, we kind of glorify these people and put people on the pedestal instead of kind of humanizing these people.
Yes.
So that's really kind of changed because everybody gets the side eye, now. These men get the side eye because it's like, how could you? And it kind of goes on to the work, how we kind of sacrifice and do different things or are forced to do different things like the casting couch or forced to do different things to get a promotion. You got to give this person your number. And it's like a whole, So it kind of really let me know that this stuff is like worldwide. It's just not locally in New Jersey. This stuff, is worldwide. So that's what it's done for me.
Wow. Those are both good things that you both talked about, what has impacted me the most? I think it's not surprising the level of racism that we're tending to go through constantly. And the insurrection to me was scary because I didn't know what was going to happen next. I thought we would have to arm ourselves. I honestly felt like that because I didn't know if our doors were going to get kicked in. What will happen when we go out onto the street? Who's going to roll up on us that just don't like the way we look or what we're driving. So I began to be more cognizant of where I'm going and looking at certain people and how they act.
Yes.
And I can speak to reality. About last month, I was going somewhere to go to one of the stores and I was waiting for this lady, and she was Caucasian, to pull out of her parking space. I'm not bothering her. I'm waiting for her to pull out so I could pull in because I wanted to be a little closer to the store. She's shaking her head. So I asked her, did she have a problem? Because I just needed to know what her issue was because she just kept shaking her head and she purposely began to take her time. However, I stayed calm because I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to pay attention to this person. I'm just waiting for her to get out of space. No, she proceeded to have a real nasty demeanor. So you could see her body language. So now I'm reading the body language. So that's why I asked her, well, is there a problem? She stated to me that I had all of this parking space. Why am I parking right here? So I said to her, I can park wherever I feel like it, you know. And I said, I don't know what your issue is, and I really don't care. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to park right here because you don't own this parking area at all. Well, I don't understand why you park here. It's not meant for you to understand. And I slammed my door and I kept walking, because here's the thing, what you're not going to do. You're not going to tell me where I can park, how I'm going to walk down the street. We're not doing that. I'm looking down because you're a white woman walking past me. We're not doing any of that. And that goes for the male Karens and the female Karens. I'm not taking none of their stuff because it just doesn't make any sense. But again, it makes me more cognizant of how I got to walk the earth. Yes. Really?
Yes.
This is a parking space, lady. Why are you getting all crazy over a parking space? But when you look at all of the different clips and videos and stuff, it is the smallest things that these people are making into mountains. And it's just ridiculous.
Yes. And I think
that back to that entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
So you should have dropped that entitlement crap back then, because you are not entitled now.
Yes.
Right.
You're not entitled. You're not entitled.
And we're talking about a parking space, ladies. Parking space.
We're talking about a parking space, but she's not talking about a parking space.
Right.
Hers is beyond a parking space.
Correct.
That's her entitlement. You can't park here because I said so.
That's right. And then I have the nerve to proceed and continue to park there. So that crushed her in her thought of entitlement, or her feeling of entitlement. So it angered her. Yeah, you're right.
And what was so scary about the insurrection is that it was like normal people that were kind of getting caught up, like your coworkers, your neighbor. Like we see all these people that they're finding, like, wow, like I didn't know you had those thoughts. I didn't know you had those beliefs. So everything's kind of coming to the forefront. Like, you really don't know who to trust and how your counterparts really feel about you. So that's the scary part. You're working alongside these people. You're living alongside these people. They're your neighbors. They're the people in the grocery store. So it's like, this is how you really feel. Like, you would like hurt me because of the color of my skin. So that's the scary part about it.
Yeah, it really is. So
it's scary that our babies are growing up. Our little people are growing up this way.
My baby.
Like, you want it to change, but you just see there's no
how.
My grandson said that a little boy called him a nigger on the bus, and he came home and told his mom. And the principal's like, I know his family, and they would never. Well, he learned it from somewhere. He learned it from somewhere, and he said, "Oh, the parents want to write you a letter." She was like, "Don't write me a letter. That little boy needs to write my son an apology." Like,
absolutely.
We're talking about 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
And he heard the word in his home.
He heard
it. One thing people have to recognize, and all of you that are watching us right now today, understand that environmental influences in the home is very powerful. If I hear someone say all day calling Black people these words, and I'm a white person, I am going to eventually go out and do it. Because this is all I know. I also am beginning to observe more too, that I notice white children look at Black people like, who are you and what are you? I can read that off of them, like they never been around Black people a lot. And I think that is really bad too. That exposure is important, and that could be on both sides. You need to expose children to other people that don't look like them. But one thing I can say, when the children are in a playground, they are all races and they play together. They don't sit back and say, "Oh, no, I don't like the way you look." No, they're playing with each other. It's the adults that I have a problem with. It's how we begin to grow up. So understand the power of environmental influences. And we need to take responsibility if we are also saying things that we shouldn't say.
Yes, absolutely.
Take responsibility and clean it up. And then really fix it. Like, understand that a child can be different than you. The two children, one may be a different hue and you're not. Why? Because this is how we're made. Plain and simple. But never disrespect a person. Like them for who they are.
Yes.
Not because of what their soul is in, because our souls are inside of our body, that flesh. So, it's more than that, and it's the teaching that I need people to start to teach and do it right.
Let me ask this question. I know that when my grandfather was on hospice, he had a white woman come in to take care of him. And he said, get this, out of my house.
Okay.
And we're like, she's here. I don't want her to help me. I don't want this woman in here helping me do nothing. So at that moment, we knew those people cannot come in here to do anything for him. Like, he may be on hospice, but he ain't crazy. And we're talking maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I went to school with a predominantly white people, high school. And for me, it was a culture shock when I left my people and went to school with them. But I learned more about them. I will not go into detail. Some of the things that they do is so different than us. I experienced things with some of the males that sent my parents to the principal's office because this is not going to be tolerated. And I think the one great thing about it was my principal was Black. So he definitely was not going to tolerate the things that were going on. But now, as I've gotten older, I like all people, but now it kind of sits different when you're looking at people, if that makes any sense. I kind of understand how my grandfather felt, where 10 years ago, I'm like, he's old. But then when you think about why.
And his traumas and what he's been through.
Yes. And you don't raise your children. We definitely don't raise our children to not like other people.
Right.
But just to be cautious.
Right.
You have to be cautious, because even though they say they're your friend, it was on the news maybe 6 months, a year ago, where the boys lured the other little boy to the water and they tried to drown him, and he thought those kids were his friends.
Yes.
He thought they were his friends. So we definitely live in a world where things are just different, where us as Black people, for me, I will speak for myself, you don't want people to see color. You don't want to raise your children to see color, but we have to be realistic about other people.
Absolutely.
Agreed. I agree with that. So that's perfect. That segues into our next talk. It's about racial identity. So you kind of went right there, and that was really good. So here's the question. What generalizations do you think people make about your racial or ethnic group? So that's part one of the question. So let's start with that. What do you think they say?
There's so many. Just working in corrections, I've heard many. Reading, people's backstory, people records, and amongst my colleagues, we're all reading together. So I've heard many, like lazy or, bastards, ghetto, baby mama, ignorant. I've heard so many. I had to redirect so many times. I've heard so many. Or like, oh, well, you made it. Why couldn't they? You pick yourself up from the bootstraps. That's the famous line I always hear. Well, you picked yourself up from the bootstraps. Why couldn't they pick their stuff up from the bootstraps? I'm like, everybody is different. Everybody comes from different backgrounds. Everybody does not have the capacity. Some people are too hurt, and it's extreme. So those stereotypes are just ones that really stand out to me the most when I think about how people view people of color.
But what's worse than that? We do it to ourselves.
Yes.
We do it to ourselves.
We do.
We show absolutely no compassion for our own people, but we get so upset when somebody else says the same thing about us.
But I think these things exist in every race. But I think that they're magnified once it comes to our race. These things happen in every race. There's baby mamas in every race. There's people on welfare in every race. There's trifling people. There's people with roaches, and So, but once it comes to our certain things, kind of like I think certain things get celebrated more in other races than in our race.
I think it's one of those things you can't say it, but I can say it. Right?
It is. It's one of those.
I can say he got 10 baby mamas, but don't let them other people say nothing about baby mamas. Why they got to be a baby mama? Why can't they just have that
the child's mother?
It's just so different. It's just
the
different
terminology. Yeah, and the way it's viewed. I agree with that. I laugh because you're exactly right, though. If we're gonna talk about this, let's be realistic, because we are saying things towards each other too. We got ratchet, baby mama. This is in our community. Thought, like, really, where does that come from? What is that? So why would you expect others that don't look like us not to use these terms?
How are they supposed to understand? Each other? They have no clue. Like, we know what a thought is. Yes. But if they say it's like, you don't know what a thought, like, how do you know what a thought is? You have no right to call us a thought or say you like it. It makes sense, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's like they gatekeep. Okay, they have an inside look at kind of what happens in our culture, because just different things, especially negative things, are magnified. So it's like, but they gatekeep certain things or certain discretions that happen within their culture. So we don't, we're not privy to those things. We're not privy to the child that's ODing or is on drugs, because they kind of get scurried away to a rehab in Florida. Whereas ours, they're locked up and everything. They're on the news for robbery. Whereas this culture, they have the same things going on, but it's not kind of magnified or given the same types of
even when you say, even with the whole OD and the drug epidemic, I wasn't privy to what went on back then, but I know that when you hear, like, now you turn on the news or the TV and it's like all these treatment centers for people, and the people don't look like us. Right. And then people say, I've heard people say, well, when we were out there in the streets back in the day doing it, they didn't get us help. Okay, that might be true. But then it becomes another thing where we don't like to talk about nothing. We don't want people to know that Michael has a drug addiction. We just chalk it up, or a mental health condition. But those other people, when their kids are on drugs or have mental health, they're screaming from the hilltop, fix my baby, help my child. And they're doing whatever they possibly can. And they're screaming and preaching to the world, but us, we don't. But I
think the help is there for them. The help is not there for us in that type of aspect, because of insurance, because maybe we don't have transportation to get here, because maybe we don't know how to help others. Maybe we don't know the resources.
I think that's true too, but we don't ask for help.
That's true too.
We tend to mask it like it's not an issue. Yeah. He's downstairs doing drugs and nobody wants to talk about it. And I say that from a perspective of having addicts in my family, where it's just like, he was stealing your money before. So
right. You told it already.
Like we was gonna act like he did. He said he was, and this person would say, "Oh, I need some groceries," and she would hand over a MAC card. She would get $20 in groceries, but a negative $100 in her account. Why do you keep giving this man?
Why do you think we do that though? Why do we think we have those relationships where we kind of enable each other?
Because we don't want people to know. So if you had asked her at the time, what do you think he's doing with the money? Oh, he probably had to get gas. No, he's been doing drugs for 50 years, because as a parent, we enable our children sometimes. We enable our children and we say, not my baby, or we gonna get help, or we trying to do whatever we can.
Take it to church.
We looking for resources to help these people, the way other people do. No, not
Yeah.
because we don't want to go to treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
We
we
don't
don't want
wanna
nobody
get
telling us what
therapy.
to do, but I think it's the trust that kind of goes back to us not
Yeah.
trusting others because of those
Yeah.
relationships that happened back when the Tuskegee projects, back when they were kind of sterilizing women. So I think that has really, really altered the way we think. Even the doctors now, like we don't trust doctors, especially black men. My husband, we don't trust, and it really affects us long term.
It
It
does.
does.
It does.
It
It
does.
does. But
Yeah.
when does it change? Because it's not
Right.
just these incidents, it's
Mhm.
any of the topics that we've talked about. When or where is the change going to be where we say, I want better for me?
Mm-hmm.
I want better for my counterparts. Is it a thing where even I promote counseling to my own child? And I'll say this, my son went through a breakup and I was scared for my son. I was scared for my son because I'm like, this isn't normal for him. These behaviors are not normal for him. Until, we had those deep conversations like, son, this is not the end of the world. This is not the end of the world. He felt like it was the end of the world. And then even my daughter's trauma with her son's father. Get help. Get help. I can't make you get help, but I can keep telling you, you need to get help. I don't care if it's 8 years later. You still have trauma from what you experienced.
Yes.
Even to the point where, okay, so my grandson, for instance, and I'm not going to get, he told his mom he needs to talk to a therapist.
Wow.
He's 8. And when she called me and said, I talked to him and he said he will only talk to you. Okay, I'll be there. I was there that week.
Mm-hmm.
And I set aside some time. We went in the bedroom. We had a talk. And he asked me, he wanted to know about his dad. He wanted to know why his dad died. Because he's 8. And how do you tell an 8-year-old your dad died from drug overdose?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's smart and intelligent to the point where whatever you tell him at 8 has to be consistent with him knowing at 15 to him to come back to say, that's not what you told me when I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to give him, your dad was mentally sick. He wasn't happy.
Mm-hmm.
And it led to him dying. But when you get older, we can go into it more in depth. He didn't want to talk to a counselor because he said, I don't know them.
Mm-hmm.
He knew grandma. So I'll talk to grandma, which is fine. But like I keep telling her, it's okay to go get him help, because if we're promoting it now at 8, when he's 28 and he needs it, he's going to know it's okay to go get help.
Absolutely.
That's right.
It starts with us now, with our little people, our grandkids, to keep promoting it. Maybe one day she will, maybe she won't, but she's heard it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He has heard it. Mm-hmm. So maybe he'll know, like, okay, I'm going to go get me some help because I think I need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job. You did a great job with that, the way you handled that.
Thank
and the
you.
way she's handling that. So
absolutely.
It was hard.
Mm-hmm. And I know it was, even having the discussion, but you did it. And that's what a lot of us have to do. So, if you're hearing us today, did you hear what Michelle said? She's being real with you. It was hard, but she did it. And it's the way she did it. That was the most delicate way for you to do it, because as you stated, when he becomes 15, he's going to revisit this conversation with you again. You're right. At 20, he's going to revisit this conversation with you again. And what you're also going to be doing as you're going through step by step, you're also going to help him with prevention. Because he's not going to want to do that. Because after he really hears the real true narrative, then he's going to say to himself, I got to take care of me.
Yes.
And I know my father loved me, but he was sick, as you stated. And that is what he needs, so he can keep going in life. Because I think we do ourselves a disservice, or all family members do each other a disservice when we sweep things under the rug and never revisit it again.
Yes. Yes.
Then it becomes the family secret.
Yes.
As you stated, the drugs, okay? How we respond and how we act. And then, even in the comment section is here, it says, it's not expected from every other cultures, the way we talk to each other or how, we present in the world. And from other cultures, they don't look at us like that. Look at them like that. It's very enhanced with us. So what does that do? The healing is what you're talking about, Shell. Taking that healing and saying, I'm going to help you heal step by step by step. When I talk to my patients and clients, that's what I'm doing with them, healing with them step by step by step. But I have to go back to their journey, their narrative in the beginning, what happened. So then now we know what healthy looks like as they move along. Is it a hard task? Yes, it is. Is there some people that want to avoid talking about what hurt them? Yes. So you have to move at their pace. And you're doing that with your grandson. He is your flesh and blood, but you're doing it the right way. And you're not ignoring it. You're not sweeping it under the rug, because family secrets break families, period.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm just going to leave it at right there. It does. It does. And it has to be broken. We got to know when to stand up and say, you know what? Your actions is something that we're not going to cover up. But what you can do is be honest and tell the family what you've been doing. And then we can support you. Then we can help you.
Absolutely.
Be honest so we can do what we have to do as a family. Because Black families are not always necessarily broken. There is, it's discombobulated at times, but not always broken. Because at the end of the day, let something happen. That same family that you thought wasn't going to be really there for you are the ones that actually stood up for you. So the family is there, but we got to make sure the family secrets don't break us up. That's all I'm saying. Culturally, yes.
Yep.
Great. So this was a great topic for us, the roundtable. I love this. I'm glad I kind of brought it to our platform. And, when we see each other again in 2 weeks, I do want to revisit more of these questions. And then eventually, for those that are following OTC, we'll be bringing back some guests, and maybe we'll do some roundtable questions with them as well. Because I think, we need to continue to have these hard discussions. And these are hard questions when you think about it. But I love the way how we tackle these questions, because we dissect it and then we bring in either personal experiences or experience of what we went through with other people, and then we bring it to the forefront because we need to talk about it. Also in the comment before we go, love will never fail. That is so true. If you love the family that you say you do, your love will never fail them, because they know, when we have family members that say, hey, you don't like me, you hate me, I don't like the way you do things, sometimes, again, when we're holding them to the carpet, it's because we do love them. Now, I will speak to the reality of people that truly don't like family members or hate their family members, because they truly do. There are mother daughters that don't like each other, mother fathers that don't like each other. I mean, it's crazy. But I want to know, and that's something we could probably tackle too. How does the family, the Black family, begin to develop this animosity, disdainment, and hate towards each other? Where is that all coming from when a mother don't love her daughter anymore, or want to push her aside, don't want to deal with her? That is, kind of crazy to me. But a lot of people that I'm working with, that's their experience, that their mothers don't like them.
Or what about the mother, the child that doesn't like the parent?
Yes. So I would like for us to, delve into that in our next session, our next get together in 2 weeks. We'll be back at our 11 o'clock time, but I really think that's one we would really need to delve into, because I need to understand where that comes from. And I kind of have a grasp on it, but I want to talk about it on this platform, how we go from a baby being carried to the child being born. And next thing you know, the child becomes the enemy. I don't understand. Where does that come from? How does that develop? But it comes through that person before having that baby. Something happened with their relationship prior to this baby coming along. So this is where we're going to be, everyone. If you're hearing us right now, that's food for thought. I want you to walk away thinking about how would that have happened, that a mother has disdainment for her child and the daughter or son don't like the mother. Where does that come from? So I want you to come back, and we're going to discuss this in our next roundtable talk, because I think it's something we need to address in the Black community, Black and brown community, because it's something that's happening every single day, and it's true, and it's live, and it's there. So ladies, before we end today, what is your takeaway for our OTC followers? What's your takeaway for today?
I think that this was wonderful. It's just good to really hear everybody's thought process on everything that's going on in the world today. I really, really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed the takeaway about, kind of looking good and feeling good, or just looking relaxed and just feeling comfortable as well. So that was a big takeaway for me. Just the norms that we kind of are kind of grow up with. So I just want to continue to kind of push forward, stay focused. I want our viewers to stay focused and push forward as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
I'm going to promote self-care. And I do love that we all have different perspectives, and we can be like, oh, okay, well, that's different, because we all grew up differently. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. But I think that when we have these conversations, it lets other people know that either that was me, that wasn't me, but it opens people's minds and starts thinking about other things.
Yes, it does. And
I think it was
to
a great
both of you, great topics. And to both of you, great minds can always sit at the table and have some real healthy conversations. And we can agree to disagree because we have different opinions. But this is how you work as Black women together. This is what you do. And we can be at the same table and hold each other accountable for what we're not doing right, and then hold accountable for the things that we're doing wrong and right and everything in between. But this is how you develop relationships too, just by having just simple conversations, and you never know. And like you said, Shell, the background is the biggest part. We all grow up differently, but when we come to the table, we can talk about how that looks, how that affects another person, and then why this platform is so important. So for those of you that joined us today on the couch, thank you for coming on the couch. Thank you for sitting on the couch. And those of us that come back and watch our program after we have done our live taping, thank you very much. And Happy New Year to you all again. Walk into 2024, like Shell said, self-care. Love yourself. Rajanta agrees with that too, and so do I. Love yourself. Put yourself first. Remember that you are important. And remember, you got a place to come to this great platform, and we are trying to make change in our community. So please feel free, drop a comment to us, email us sometime. Let us know that you're out there. We are on Facebook. Reach out, and we're here. So have a wonderful Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Be safe out there. And remember what Martin Luther King did, because his birthday is on Monday. Look, don't be out there shopping and doing all this stuff that you do on his birthday. Maybe watch something he did, like his speech or something like that. But enjoy your holiday. Okay, let's keep it real. It is a holiday. Enjoy your holiday. Okay, folks, and take care. And thank you for joining us on the couch. We will see you in 2 weeks. Take care, everyone.
Have a good one.
Thank you for joining on the couch this evening. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to contact Dr. Diamond, you may reach her at candidconversations.dr.d@gmail.com. Have a great evening, and we will see you on the next show.